Okay, so today we are playing through Dark Fort. I saw a YouTube video by the Lonely Dungeoner who was playing through Dark Fort with One Page Mythic, and I thought that was a cool idea, so I had to go with it off camera, and I thought it would be good fun to play it on camera. So Dark Fort, it says, a slightly adapted and translated version of the solo/micro game that became Morkboard. Grab a handful of dice, a pencil and paper, and begin your perilous delve into the Dark Fort. So we'll be playing as the Catacomb Rogue. So your name is Kargunt. You begin with 15 hit points and 15 plus d6 silver. So I've got my sheet on here. I'll get rid of that. So we got 15 hit points and we got 15 plus d6 silver. So we can roll our d6. And we got a 6, so we got 21 silver straight off the bat, which is pretty good. So we also need to roll for our weapon, which is d4. So we got a warhammer, a dagger, a sword, or a flail. Let's see what we get. 4. So we get a flail, which is d6 plus 1 damage. Let's get rid of this stuff from earlier. So we got our flail there. And then we've got one more item, which is a d4 as well, which is our Cloak of Invisibility. And we can use that twice. So, pop that in there. Alright. So it says, underline weapons add +1 on attack rolls, but not damage. Okay, so we'll just start to play the game and I'll kind of explain things as they go along. So, we need to draw an entrance room of any size or form where D4 doors lead further in any direction. The D4 also determines one of these things here. So, let's first of all draw our room. Alright, so hopefully you'll be able to see this, but let's start somewhere in the middle. We'll do a 5x5 for our first room. Alright, so draw a room of any size or form where D4 doors lead further in any direction. The D4 also determines one of these. So what I think we'll do first is we'll scroll across to doors and see. So 2. So we've got one door coming out of our first room. One door there. So let's add our door. Let's add our door down here. And it also means a weak monster stands guard. Okay, cool. So what we're going to have to do now is we are going to have to roll for a weak monster. And you can see in this section here, in the monster section, it says there are weak and tough monsters. To hit, roll a d6 and tie or surpass the monster's points. If successful, it takes weapon damage, d4 minus 1 if unarmed. A failure means you're hit. After accumulating 15 points and exploring 12 rooms, you level up. Anyone with 0 HP or less dies. You can try to flee in a fight, taking d4 damage and leaving the room unexplored. So essentially what we need to do is kill as many monsters as possible and get through 12 rooms. And that will mean that we can level up. And then once we level up to a certain extent, then that's when we can retire. So first of all, we have a monster in this first room. What I'm going to do is I am going to just draw some stairs over here. So there are stairs kind of leading down into our dungeon. And then what I'm going to do as well is I'm going to see what type of dungeon this actually is. And actually I'm going to use Table Fables for that. So if I try and find the dungeon section. Alright. So we got here our dungeon generator. I kind of just want to know what type of theme the dungeon is. So we need to roll a d8. So 3. So we've got a natural cave. And then we can see out of a D4 what type of cave it is. So it's a sea cave. Okay, cool. So we're in a sea cave. What I'll do is I'll just write that down. Okay, so our dungeon is a sea cave. Now I wonder why Kargan would have been exploring a sea cave. Maybe let's just roll on our discover meaning table, and we can do that with a D100. Okay, so I guess we want to find out, maybe we can find out a description of our sea cave. So 24, we have got disagreeable. Okay, so why is it disagreeable sea cave? Maybe because there's been no adventurers there. Let's see. Maybe lots of adventurers there and they've all died. 26. Empty. Okay, cool. So maybe there haven't been any adventurers there. Maybe it's been too perilous to kind of venture into this sea cave. Maybe it's like right on the edge of a cliff, and maybe no one could kind of get down there to explore it. But for some reason, whatever reason, Kargan has decided that he needs to explore it for whatever reason. I'm sure whatever reason that will be becomes apparent. So anyway, we need to fight our weak monster. So let's see which weak monster we're going to get. So it's a D4 roll. We've got either a skeleton, a cultist, or a goblin. Alright, so we got a goblin. So 3 points, D4 damage, and 5 hit points. So let's write that down here. So in room 1, let's write that there. Apologies for my handwriting, it is terrible. So room 1, we have a goblin who has 3 points, D4 damage, 5 HP. So 3 points, D4 damage, and 5 HP. Alright, so what we need to do now is we need to roll a 3 or over in order for us to hit the goblin. So, fingers crossed. Alright, nice. So we hit a 6. So we managed to attack the goblin with our flail, and our damage is D6 plus 1. So we need to hit a 5 or over, or a 4 or over to kill the goblin. Nice. So 6 damage, and the goblin is dead. Ooh, it's not highlighting him. So he's down to 0 HP, and now we get our 3 points from killing that goblin. Lovely. Alright, so it looks like the only way we can go is south. Before we go, obviously we know we're in a sea cave, but maybe let's see if we can work out anything else to do with this sea cave. So we know obviously there's nobody there in terms of adventurers. Obviously we have the things that dwell in the sea cave, but it appears as if there haven't been any adventurers there before, so this would probably be a first for the creatures seeing anyone like Kargan, maybe. So let's see what else we've got in this one room. Let's see if we can describe. So 92, we have small. Okay, so it's a 5x5, so maybe in terms of how big the sea cave is, maybe a 5x5 room is actually quite a small room. So maybe it kind of expands a lot further, maybe there are big caverns. But yeah, a 5x5 seems to be a small room. So we're going to head south into the next room. So what we need to do is we need to roll on a d6 to find out what Oh no, that's for new rooms. So we need to roll 2d6 to find out what type of room shape we have while entering that room. So get another d6 out. So 2. So we got an irregular cave, and I suppose that makes sense for our sea cave that we have. So let's draw out our irregular cave. Obviously we don't know yet how many entrances or exits we're going to have. So maybe something like that would be quite good. It'd be fun if we just get a 1 straight away and then we're kind of done with our mission, but we'll see. So we're rolling a d4 for doors and a 4. So we've got 2 doors. So I don't know if that means we have 2 doors plus the 1 door here. I'm going to take it as we have 2 more doors, because then otherwise we're only going to have 1 way to go. So I'm going to say 1 still heads south, maybe down here, and then 1 heads east out over this way. So as we enter the room, we need to see if there's anything in the room. First of all, so we enter out into this big cave. Maybe let's see what the first thing we notice in the cave is. So let's try our D100. So 72. We are looking at peaceful. Okay, so maybe it's so big that you can't really hear much of the noise in the cave, or there isn't many other noises apart from the cave noise. So maybe you hear kind of like the dripping from the stalagmites or stalactites, whichever ones are on the roof. Maybe there's little pools of water that have built up from this kind of this dripping from the stalagmites or tights. And maybe there's like some creature noises, maybe there's some bats flying around. But other than that, it's a fairly peaceful environment. Thus far. Let's roll on our room table to see what is in this room. So 3. So the riddling soothsayer. So roll a die, odd result. You solve the riddle and may choose to receive either 10 silver or 3 points, and then even result, a mind-shattering shockwave which deals 4 damage, ignoring armor. If you survive, the room is explored. So we see this riddling soothsayer stood in the middle of the room. He probably hasn't seen anyone like us before. Let's see what this soothsayer is all about. Let's roll on our description. So 28. Extravagant. Okay, so maybe he's wearing like a big kind of cloak. Maybe he's got like a big like either like a crown or a headdress type thing on, in kind of extravagant colours. He's wearing like greens and purples, things like that. And he's just stood there in the middle of the room, and he says out this riddle to us, and we need to decode this riddle, I suppose, and we can do that by rolling an odd result. So let's see what we get. A 6. Okay, so the riddle seems too complicated for us, so we unfortunately have to be dealt this mind-shattering shockwave, which deals us d4 damage. So let's have a look. So we've got 15 hit points. Hopefully it's of the lower end of the d4. So it's 2. Okay, so we are now on 13 hit points. But our room is now explored. So that's 2 rooms that we've explored out of our 12 that we need to do to level up. So the soothsayer, he wanders off into a different direction, and the cave remains peaceful as it was before we entered. Okay, so I just wonder, so we've encountered 2 goblins, or 2 enemies now. So one was the goblin and one was the soothsayer. I wonder if Kargun I wonder how he's feeling. I wonder, is he feeling scared, or is he feeling determined to carry on? We've got the fate chart down here. Essentially, we roll a d100, and based on our odds, we see what our answer is. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to roll a dice to see how Kargun is feeling. So is he feeling scared? I mean, I think he's a pretty grizzled adventurer, so I don't think he's going to be scared. So let's just, as an example, let's say it's very unlikely that he's going to be scared. So is he scared? We need to roll a 25 or under for it to be yes. So 42. So we are all good. He is definitely not scared. Is he determined to carry on the adventure? I think that's very likely, to be honest. He is been an adventurer for many years, and I feel like this is definitely something that he would be likely to do. So 1675, very likely. 41, yeah, so he's very likely to want to continue on in this adventure. So we've explored our entrance, we've explored this cave here. How about let's venture east and see what room we have there. So we venture east into the room, and our room shape is 2d6. So we are looking at a 8, and that's just a regular square room. So like I said before, you know, a 5x5 room is apparently quite small. So let's see, is this going to be bigger than a 5x5? I'd say it's going to be likely. So let's roll on that. So we're looking at 14 to 65 for a yes. So a 4. So this is a exceptional yes. So maybe this is probably, we're going to say this is the biggest room out of the whole dungeon. How about a 10 by 10 room? So we'll go 9 by 9. So let's do this. So this is easily our biggest room out of the whole dungeon. And hopefully 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We got 9 by 9. I can officially count. Alright, so that is our third room. Let's see how many doors this has. So we're rolling a d4 for that. And we have a 1. Oh, okay. So that's not ideal. So no door, you have reached a dead end. Your adventure is over. You can still return to a previously explored room with unopened doors. Unfortunately, we have met a dead end, but let's see what type of room we have here. What is in our room? So we're going to roll for description. 56. What have we got for 56? Mechanical. Okay. Let's see what else. 100. A warm mechanical room. Okay, let's see what else we've got there. 84. Rough. Okay, so we just need to use these for prompts. So we've got a warm mechanical rough room. What that makes me think of something like an engine room or something like that. I don't know how that could be incorporated into into this sea cave, but maybe there's some type of, maybe whoever lives in this dungeon is some type of, I'm thinking like a steampunk type lair. Let's see if there's any actions that we can take. So 94. Stop. Okay, so I'm going to take that to mean that we've come into this room, and maybe there's mechanical equipment laid out all over the floor, and it's things like engines. It's things like I don't know. I can't think of much else, but maybe there's some like engines that are kind of scattered across the floor, and it seems like someone's been there, but maybe not for a while, or maybe they've been trying to repair these engines, but they haven't been there for a while. So maybe Kargant looks around and he's trying to see if he can see any signs of anybody living there. Do we think, let's say, do we think someone lives here? And I think it's going to be 50-50, because it looks like things haven't been touched for a while, but maybe it's just something that's been given up on. So let's say 50-50. So 79, do we think someone lives there? We don't think someone lives there. Okay, so maybe these engine parts are all rusted. And which would make sense if it's in a sea cave. So we don't think that anyone's living there. Okay. But we've got all these engine parts still scattered. Okay, let's see if we find anybody in this room. So 1. So nothing. Okay, so we've explored the room already. We've looked around, we found these engine parts, and we don't think that anybody lives there. Alright, so we're going to head out of room 3 and we're going to head back into room 2. Now, it says when entering a unexplored room or a room fled from, a 1 in 4 chance that we face a weak monster, otherwise the room is empty. So let's roll on our d4, and we got 4, so the room is still empty, and we can still hear those drips from the stalagmites. Alright, so we're going to have to head south. Because, well, we got nowhere else to go. So let's roll our 2d6. And we have an 11. So we have a triangular shaped room. Interesting. So what type of triangle? Should we do let's do something like this, actually. So maybe that comes down from there. Joins up over here, and that still is a triangle. All right, so let's roll for doors. So hopefully we got doors here, otherwise our adventure is over. 3. Okay, so we got 2 doors. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to take it as we got this door here, and then we're going to have 2 more doors. So let's have one here over to the east, and then let's have one over here. It's like a weird triangular slanted door. Okay, so we enter into this strange triangular room. Let's have a see what we see when we enter the room. So 64, we have natural, okay, which makes sense because we are in a sea cave after all. 23, disagreeable again. I don't really know what that means. Let's roll again. 23. Did I seriously roll the same thing twice? Okay, that is weird. 39. Heavy. Okay, so maybe we can see, we look to the ceiling and we can see a couple of boulders which have been wedged into the top of the room. So it's almost like they've fallen from a further height, and then they've just got stuck and they've been wedged into the top of the room. And you can kind of make out the outlines. It's quite dark in this cave. You can kind of make the outlines of maybe like 3 boulders which have fallen. Obviously we don't want to be stuck under them for too long. But let's see what is in this room. So like I say, D6 to see what is going on. So 1, so nothing. Okay. So it's been a fairly uneventful dungeon so far. I mean, like I said earlier, it said it was empty, and I didn't think it would be this empty. So let's head west and see what our room type is like in the room west of us. So 6, we got another square room. Let's do it like this. We go 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. No, we have to do that by 5. Not exactly square, but hey, there we go. Okay, so we enter our room, and how many doors have we got? 4. Okay, so 2 more doors. We'll have to go west, and we'll have to go north. Lovely. Alright, so as we enter our 5th room, let's just quickly mark them. We have a 64. Natural, yeah, okay. Obviously natural. 4. Beautiful. Okay. Okay, so what I'm thinking, a natural, beautiful room. Maybe we're thinking of something like, maybe the room is made from, maybe the rock type is something like a marble or something like that. And maybe where the sea's kind of got through into this room, it's kind of polished this stone, so it's kind of glowing almost. I imagine we're carrying a torch. So maybe when we wave our torch, we can kind of see the glowing of the torch reflecting off these kind of polished walls. I wonder though, is the sea, is there kind of a way out into the sea? Because obviously the sea needs to get into this room in order to kind of polish off what is in this room. So I reckon maybe from north or from west there's kind of an opening out to the sea. So let's ask, can we see through one of these doors? Can we see outside into the sea, or can we see the sea from either of these doors? I'm going to say that in this room it's likely, because obviously the sea must have got in here somehow. So if I don't drop the dice, so we're saying it's likely, so let's move that over there. It was an 89. Okay, so no, we can't see the sea from any of the doors. Can we hear the sea from this room? Again, I'm going to say that is likely. So 55. Okay, yeah. So we can hear the sea from here, but maybe we can't see it out of either of the doors. So that might mean that maybe there's somewhere underground that the sea is coming from. So maybe we can't see it from out of either of these doors, but maybe there's like a little hole or something like that. Yeah, I'm going to say there's like a little hole or something, maybe close to the middle, over here, that the sea is kind of coming up through and getting into this room. Okay, well, in which case that kind of means there's a bit of a danger from this room flooding. Okay, so let's ask then. I'm going to say the room is quite prone to flooding. How shall I word this for the oracle? Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that one out of 6 times we enter this room, it's going to be flooded, which means that we can't go through that room for another turn. So if I roll a 1 on here, then this room is going to be flooded. Now, it's obviously not flooded at the moment, So that's fine. But maybe if we have to come back into this room, it might become flooded for whatever reason. Okay, so we're going to leave that there for our flood. I want to pick the blue one as well, so that makes sense. All right, cool. So we've entered this kind of polished marble room, which is glowing in the kind of reflection of our torch. We need to see if anyone is in there, though. So let's roll a d6. 3. Okay, this riddling soothsayer. Okay, so maybe he's... I don't know. I thought he might have escaped into room 3, but maybe he's come down here. Maybe it's the same guy. He's come back into this flooded room here. And obviously he's going to riddle us on something, and our odd result is that we solve the riddle, and our even result is that we take damage. All right, nice one. So we riddle he was telling us, and we can either take 10 silver or 3 points. Okay. So 10 silver or 3 points. How many silver do we need to... So we need 40... Collect at least 40 silver, which you can return. So that's... If we get 40 silver, then we can level up. I think at the moment, because this dungeon is seemingly empty, I think it would make sense to take that silver. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take this silver here. 10 silver. We're up to 31. All right. That is handy. Okay, so our room is prone to flooding. Let's head west and see what our room is like there. So 10. So a rectangular room we've got. Let's just draw that. Alright, so our rectangular room here, and that is room 6. So that's 6 out of 12. Our D4 for doors, and we have 1 door. So maybe that's going to lead us south. Got that there. Let's see what this room is like. Is it anything like our shiny room from before? So 18. 18 is dangerous. Alright, so maybe this room is also prone to suffering like the room before. Maybe when this room floods, this room might do as well. Let's see if that's the only reason why it might be dangerous. So 10. Clean. Okay, so it's a clean room, maybe because once this room floods, everything gets flushed out of this room. Anything else for us? 3. Beautiful. Okay, yeah, so maybe this room as well. Is similar in complexion to room 5, and it's made out of that kind of shiny marble. All right, let's see who is in our room. Wonder if we'll have to fight a monster. So 1d6 to roll. Of course we do. Okay, so a weak monster. So we'll actually be able to get some points. Alright, so let's see what weak monster we're fighting, which is 1d4. A 1, so we're looking at a blood-drenched skeleton. So 3 points, d4 damage, and 6 hit points. And we also get a 2 in 6 chance that you loot a dagger from the slain skeleton. Alright, so our skeleton in room 6. So our skeleton has 3 points, d4, 6. So 3 points, d4, 6 hit points. Okay, so we see the skeleton, and the skeleton lunges towards us with its dagger to try and attack us. Now, are we going to be able to attack this skeleton, or is it going to be able to attack us? So we need to roll a 3 or above to hit. And we do. Okay, so maybe we dodge out of the way of its dagger, and we kind of thrust or swing our flail towards the skeleton. So we need a 5 plus 1 to kill the skeleton. So let's see. So a 4 plus 1, so a 5. So we take this skeleton down, we swing our flail at the skeleton, and we hit it for 5 HP. So it's now down to 1 HP. Maybe one of his arms flies off or something like that. So let's see if the skeleton is able to hit us, or if we're able to hit the skeleton again. Here we go. 6. Okay, so we hit for 7. So maybe we swing our flail, and it smashes his head straight off. And he falls to the floor, dropping his dagger. Are we able to pick this dagger up, let's say? So 2. Okay, so it drops straight to the floor, and we pick up the dagger and add it to our inventory. Lovely. So we have our dagger there. Dagger which does d4 plus 1 attack. So with the way this works, it says with our dagger, so underlying weapons add 1 on attack rolls, but not damage. Okay, so so you can see our flail here, which is our d6 plus 1. So if I was to roll a 6 and plus 1, then that does 7 damage. I think the underlying ones, I'm going to take that as if we're attacking a skeleton which has 3 points, that we need to roll a 3 or more to hit. But with our plus 1 attack on our dagger, we're going to take that basically down to 2 points, so we need 2 to hit. So we can use that now. I think I'm going to stick with the flail, but it's good that we've got the dagger as well. Alright, I think I'm going to leave it there for this episode. We've explored 6 rooms of our sea cave. We've only had a couple of weak monsters to fight, and our riddling soothsayer to answer the riddles of. But hopefully next time we might encounter some tougher monsters, and yeah, let's see what happens.